guys, and today we will be making a PC. So we have a Ryzen 7 CPU, AMD, we have a Corsair RM750X 750 watt power supply, a MSI MAG X570 Tomahawk Wi-Fi, which is the motherboard. We have a GIGABYTE GeForce RTX graphic card. We have a Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro memory, a Western Digital hard drive, and an NZXT H510 Elite case, which we're going to be using for the PC. So let's move into building the PC. Let's do this, guys.
So we chose this motherboard from MSI. It's called the MSI TOMAHAWK X570 Wi-Fi. So obviously this one has a built-in Wi-Fi, and also using the latest chipset from AMD, which is X570, specially made for AMD CPU. So let's see what's inside.
Okay, let's open it up.
Open it up, and of course you see a motherboard. So this is
Let's just get this
a very
thing.
big motherboard. Is for the ATX case. It's not the smallest one, but not the biggest one. So let's have him open the motherboard. There. Take this out carefully and then put it on display. So you see this is a metallic black motherboard, and there are a couple features for this board which is very interesting. So the first one I think is black in color with the back panel already embedded here. So you see a couple things on this back panel. We have the USB, of course, we have HDMI, and for the USB we also have the USB-C, which gives more power. So this is good, I think, and then using along with a case with USB port, I think this makes the portability very say updated. And then taking a look at the board, of course, first thing we look at is the CPU socket. So here you can see the CPU socket here. So this is the AM4 socket, which we will later on put the Ryzen 7 CPU on it, which is right here. So this we will put on. And next to the CPU socket is 4 slots of memory. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Usually we put the memory, which is right here. This is the memory that we will put it on. There are 2 memories cards that we will put on. We will likely put on either 1 and 3 or 2 and 4. So this is where we put it on. And then next to it here, you can see this is actually where we put the hard disk on. So hard disk now is not like the old days where it's bulky and noisy. So right, it's actually just a thin piece of a card, which is right here. So this is called NVMe card, and then you can see the speed is really blazing fast. And then we will put a 1 TB hard disk card here in this M.2 slot, and next to the slot is the PCIe interface. So this is where we put the graphic card on. So for this board we have 2 PCIe card interface. One is the PCI 4.0, the other is the PCI 3.0. So we will just put on one of them. And next to it is the you see a fan here. So this is a feature of a X570 board, different to the B550 or the B450. So I think this is used to take away the heat from the chipset when it runs heavily. So you see the X570 chipset is actually right behind the fan itself. And lastly, I think you can see this is the audio boost. Whereas it's the onboard sound chip. And then I think, according to the research, I think all the capacitors, they are from Japan. So I can assume, I think it should be pretty decent quality. So you can see this board here, I think is very well made. I think from the look itself, I think it's not like the budget board. I think I would say it's about like medium tier. Not the top end, not the high end, but I think right in the middle. And let's see the performance later. And let's first put on the CPU on it to see. All right. Okay, this is the CPU that we use. We choose AMD over Intel, and we choose the Ryzen 7 3700X to be precise. And you can see for this CPU, a fan is included, which is the heatsink fan. So let's unbox it and see what's inside. Okay, I opened the box inside. You will see two things basically.
This is the CPU and this is the fan.
Yes, so check it out.
Fan.
It's actually a huge fan.
Huge.
And let's take a look compared to his hand. Alright, you see you see the fan itself.
Fan is huge.
Is AMD here. You can see the copper pipe and then the heatsink on it. Okay, next is where the core value of this box, which is the CPU itself.
And the sticker.
Okay, so open the box, you can see the CPU inside.
Instructions. There are some instructions.
And we'll put the CPU on the AMC AM4 socket. So we will put the CPU on the socket. So first thing we need to do here is unlock the AM4 socket here. So check it out. Okay, and then we carefully take the CPU out from the packaging. So make sure you use extreme care. Don't bend it because I think it's very fragile. So use two hands. Take it out. Don't bend the pins on the back. You see here AMD CPUs, they always use pins, and they're very sensitive. So just do a quick check to make sure they're all straight, and then usually it's like it's the case from factory. And check the four corners. You see one corner have a golden triangle, and then the other three doesn't have it. So this is a corner, or what we call the indicator corner, where we need to align this corner with this special corner here on the socket. So here you can see this is also the only corner in the socket where we have a special triangle. It doesn't happen on the other three here. Okay. So next we should put the CPU straight down. I think without bending anything. Make sure this is aligned. Okay. You don't need to let's say impose any force. I think just let it go down by itself. And after that, lock the CPU down. Got the click sound, and then there should be no wiggling at all. So this is good for the CPU itself. And the next step is we're going to put the fan on top of the CPU with these two blankets here. So this is the fan, and here you can see there are two cables here. So this is the fan that comes with the CPU. One of the fan is, I think, is the cable connecting the fan to a socket on the motherboard. The other is the lighting of the fan, which brings the RGB color. Okay, so we will put it on top. Next we will install the fan on top of the CPU. So this is the fan, is pretty huge. You see, compared to the motherboard, actually it's like maybe 1/6 of the size. And then think about it, we always put the logo on top of the motherboard. So this fan will be installed right here. Okay, and we have two kinds of cable. Actually, I think both of them are controlling the light of the fan. So we will use the one you see the USB here. Okay, we will use this one because I think this is the recommended way of doing it. Then you can use the software to control the lights. So there are two sides. One side is connecting to the fan right here. Okay, and then the other side is connecting to the USB port of the motherboard. So, and what I'm going to do now is take it out, and you see there are two clampings here. One side, one here, and on the other side there's another one. So there's a lock here. So what I'm going to do is I'll put this on top of the CPU and then lock it, and then connect the power cable to the fan 1 port here. So this is the fan 1 port, right? Okay, so I put the fan on top of the CPU. You see, that's secured. And what I need to do next is to put the lock from the left side to the right side with some force. Okay, you can hear the sound, and actually right now it can hold the motherboard very strongly. Even I can lift the whole board up with just this fan. Okay, so this looks awesome, and this is the power cable of the fan. So what we need to do next is to connect this cable to here, as I mentioned earlier, just to make sure the alignment is correct, and just plug it in. That's it. Okay, so we will do the cable management later to make it tidy, but at the moment I think this looks good. Okay, so, and as we said earlier, we will put the USB cable right here later. I think we will do it in the later part of the setup, because I don't want to mess around, because I still want to put the hard disk on and then the RAM on. Okay? Okay, so the CPU and the fan is perfectly aligned. I checked the four sides to make sure they look alright. And next up is we will install the memory. The memory on the DIMM slot. I think we have 4 DIMM slots here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And always remember, when we install the RAM, put them in the M.2 slot first, which is the second and the fourth one. Ensure, I think the system is very stable, using the same type of memory, the same number, means the same frequency, and the same density as well. So, and the memory that we are using, what's the memory that we are using?
The Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro.
Yay. So RGB means, I think there are lights coming from it. So there are flashing lights.
This part.
And you can change the color in the software. You can make it blue, red, or even rainbow. And this is a RAM kit with 2 pieces, each of 16 gig each.
So 1, 2.
So, and then Hanson will check it out.
Okay. So let's unbox the Corsair Vengeance Pro. So let's get it out of the box, and this one's, I think, the white version, and this, it's probably that, like, these parts are like for like the light coloring. So let's just take them out of this plastic box. Oh.
Okay, while he is checking it out, I just want to have a quick look. So for each memory, there is always a reach here. So you see there is always reach here, and it always match with the one on the motherboard, where you can see here. So it won't go wrong. You can't put it in the wrong direction here. the reach, right? So just make sure everything is right. And as I said earlier, always put in 2 and 4. So before you put the memory in, you can open this number 2 here, this number 4 here.
And on the other side.
Same on the other side.
So 1
and 2.
So
and what we need to do is to put it right here. Put it slowly, and then push it in.
So just push it.
Yep, push it down. Push it down. You hear the click sound.
There we go.
On one side and then on the other side. Okay. So this one as well. Alright, and then it's alright.
And then
push it down.
There we
Yep,
go.
you hear the click sound as well. So this is all done. You can see the 2 memories. It's very simple to install, and it looks good. And you'll see here, you'll see the lighting
These will
here.
be lights, but
Okay.
it's not connected to power yet,
Yes.
so you can't see them.
After installing the CPU and the memory, what we usually do next is to install the hard drive. So on this board is using the latest technology called M.2, and we will install one piece of M.2 hard drive here. If you see in the past, or actually still, it's still there. I think you can see here. It's my hard disk in my OPC from 2009. So it's not 2019 but 2009. So the size of this hard disk is 1 TB, which is the same as the one that I just bought for the M.2. So this is the one that I'm using for this PC. I unbox it, so you can see this is actually the hard disk itself. So you see it's so tiny compared to the bulk anymore. So it's faster, lighter, use less power than the old one. So let's see how it can be installed. So in this motherboard, I think you can see there is 2 M.2 slot here, one here, and then the other here. So the front of the hardware is the heatsink. So what we need to do first is to remove the M.2 heatsink and also remove the protective film from the thermal pad. So I'm going to unscrew it. Okay. It's out.
Okay.
So if I flip it over, you will see there is a thermal pad here. So after I install the M.2 card, I need to remove this thermal pad. I put this aside first. Okay. And now I'm going to take this out. This is from WD, which is one of the best as well, I think, in the memory industry. So you see this is really thin. So for installing this this drive, just you need to find the appropriate length here. So you have different length, and this one I think it fits here perfectly. I think maybe I can show it this way. I put it inside, and then you see here there is a hole here, which there is a kind of what we call the standoff here. So what we are going to do is we plug this card, insert this card in into this M.2 slot at a 30-degree angle, and then secure this SSD, M.2 SSD, in place with the M.2 screw, which usually comes with the motherboard. So here is the M.2 screw.
Very small.
Very small. Okay, so now we're going to put this into the M.2 slot. Make sure you are putting it in an angle So here again, there's a knob here. So put it right here, okay, and an angle, and then push it a little bit in. Okay, you see this is going to hang around here. Okay, what you need to do is just to push it. Okay, and then we put the M.2 screw here. Okay, this is how we secure the M.2 drive. You see with this screw. And what we're going to do next is to put back the heatsink on it. So I take the protective film for the thermal pack away and align it again. Make sure it aligns very well. Okay. All right, and then just screw it back in. Looks good, secure. So I plan to put another M.2 here, in here later. But I think I'm not going to do it today. I'll put it later. So this is the CPU, the memory, and then the hard disk. Okay, we get the basic components ready. We have the motherboard, we have the CPU, we have the memory, we have the
hard
drive, which is a SSD, the solid state drive, and next to it you can see a tower. This is actually the case that we have bought.
Is this
is
on button?
Let me unwrap it. So we chose this case.
Oh, this came with the fan. This came with the fan.
Yeah, it has already
good.
Two fans on it, and
good.
We will see after.
Already came with the fan.
Fan here.
Yeah, we have two in front, one on top, and then one at the back.
Right
and then,
there. There's some
this
over
is a
here.
temper glass.
Okay, so are we gonna open it or something?
So, open it now.
The other fan's right there.
You can see inside.
Open the inside.
So first we opened
There's
the right
tape
side.
outside.
So here you see the,
HP. Okay, so
okay, you can
this
see
is
that's
the
the inside.
Fan.
This is the signature bar of the N.
Yes.
So many
case.
fans.
Wait. 1, 2 fans.
And
Yes, there are 4 fans.
let me open the other side as well.
So
The other side,
other
it only has
side.
tempered glass on
No,
one side,
the
but not on the
fan.
other side. So you can see on the other side. I take this out carefully.
So yes.
Excuse me.
Let's just take
Okay.
this part out.
This is the back
The
side
back part.
of the.
There's some
case.
cables. or
So you see,
wire
I
thing.
think we will manage to put all the cables here to put this clean and tidy. It's very spacious. There are so many rooms here.
Yes.
And here is where we put the power supply.
Okay, so what is
So
this?
this is probably the screws that comes with it. Let's open it to see what's inside. Yeah, the screws, some
and
cables,
screws
and oh, it's even some zip ties.
oh,
Okay,
Instructions.
this is the instructions, but probably we don't need it. But this is the model. So okay, let's put the motherboard into the case or separate it over.
Just-
We built the basics of the motherboard and we light down the case. So next step is we put the motherboard into the case. So you can see usually when we put the motherboard into the case, we screw it down, and there are 9 screws, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I would recommend if you have some, let's say, long screwdriver with magnets. I think definitely help. I'll show you how in the next step. take the motherboard and then put it in carefully. So align the screw holes together. So just relax and put the motherboard in, and now you should be able to see through. I think we can put the screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we will tie down the screws now. So we put the motherboard into the case, and then we put the case upright. You will see I already put the cable for the CPU from the CPU fan via the back to one of the USB plug here. So what I'm going to do next is you will see plenty of actually plenty of cables in the back here. You see there are a lot of cables here. So of course they are not going to go over the case. They are going to, the cables going from here, you see here, and then onto the board. So we have a couple cables here. So this is a small one. So this one is the USB 3.2 generation 2 USB cable. This one is going to connect to here. So this is the fastest USB I think for this computer. So it's about like 10 gigabytes. And this is the USB 3.2 generation 1. So this is going to be somewhere here. Okay, it's this one. So 3.2 Gen 2, 3.2 Gen 1. And we have this one. You see here, it's written as the front panel. You see the front panel here? So with this cable, we need to connect this, we call it the breakout cable here. So this cable, I think you can see there are 3 breakout cables here called the LED plus minus power and the HDD LED. So this cable you will put in here according to the instruction on the board. So this is the front panel, and we have the one. Okay, this is the audio cable. So the audio cable will also be connected to here. This is the audio plug here. And last but not least is the USB 2.0. So we already used one for the CPU fan. So there are 2 here. So this one will be plugged into the remaining one here. So we need to plug this cable, all from the back side. I think for tidiness and just to make it look nice. And if you take a look at the back right now, you see here, these are all the cables. So apart from these ones which we will be connecting to the motherboard, of course there are a few others, and but let's plug this in first, and we will do the cable management later. I got all those few cables connected. You can see here the cables are routing from here on this side and also on the bottom. So it's still looking pretty messy now, but I think at the end of the build, I think it will be very tidy. That's the cable management at the end. So let me put the case down and then share with you again. So if you take a look at the front, so we have the USB fan from the CPU, and I have the 3.2 generation 2, and then this one, see here, this one is the one which is the special one with the breakout cable. So you can see here, so here you see we have the HDD, LED, power LED and power switch. Most of the time it's these 3, and then it's aligned all here in this slot. And next to it is the 3.2 USB generation 1. and next two are the ones from USB 2.0, and the last one that I connected was the audio cable. Okay, so next is
So I don't know why there are like so many USBs.
yeah, you can see that's a good question. So if we take a look at the back of the case, okay, so here you see these are all the USBs, the one in black, the one in blue, and the one in red. So the blue ones is USB 2.0, that's the slowest speed, and then we have the blue one, which is the 3.2 generation one, which is, let's say, 5 gigabit. Yeah, it's the middle speed. So this is super fast speed, which is the
Red.
USB 3.2 generation 2. And actually there is one even next to it. This is the USB-C, which is the other connectors that we have connected. So in this case, we have one here, and we also have one actually on top of the case. If I flip the case again, so here you can see the power, USB and USB-C, and this is the audio. So, but this is the design. Okay, so next is we got the a few cables connected, and it's time to make some colors to this case. So we use this called power supply sleeve cable from Asia Horse. So, and we chose the color blue, which I think matches well with the white case. So let me take it out. So we have a few cables that we will be using. I think we won't use all of them, but we will use the biggest one, which is right here. I put it here. Okay, the biggest one, I think this one we will be connecting to this slot, and then to the power supply. And then we have the other one, which is the CPU power. Okay, this one actually it will go here on the top left corner. So this is the CPU power. So I put it aside as well, and then we will probably have one more when we connect the graphic card, the GPU. So I'll show you how this is being connected. Okay, we hook up two cables. You see this one, and this one. So this is the ATX case power. So we will connect this cable to the PSU, the power supply.
There are like a lot of cables.
Yeah, there are a lot of cables, and then we try to make it nice by putting these rings on it, so it looks nicer. And so we put two here, and then we put one at the back, and then here is the CPU power supply. So we have already plugged 1, 2 on it. So and we have one more here, and one more here, which we will connect to the power supply as well. So the next that we will do is we will install the graphic card, the GPU, on this
Line thing.
4.0 slot. And I think the card we are using is the GIGABYTE 2070 Super. So we will use this card in the time being. So I have a plan to upgrade it to 3070 or 3080 that was just announced but not ready in the market. So we will first use this card, and this card will occupy 2 slots here. So I need to take two away. So if I put up the case, so here you can see at the back, I need to take this one and this one away. If I see it here, you see it corresponds to these 2 slots. So I will take this and this away, and yeah, let's do it. Okay, so you see I unscrew the the grid out. So we have 2 available slots right now, which I can put the graphic card on it. So this graphic card is consists of 3 fans and a metallic plate at the back. So I hope it's green now. It looks nice, huh? So we put this card, check everything is okay. Oh, you have to take this out, don't forget. Okay, and then we put it into the PCI slot here. You see here? Okay, see here, over there?
That little area.
And then you hear sound, then it should be okay. Okay, and then we screw the 2 screws that we took out, just them out. Yes, the thing you see here, this is the power supply for the GPU. So we will have a cable with
The 4
the 8 pins.
pins.
So you can see the pins here. So you can see the pins, they should correspond to each other. The top left corner, it should correspond to the right corner. So I mean, you won't get it wrong, but don't use any force to put it in because it should be very smooth. So just put this in, and then on the other side you connect it to the power supply, the PSU, which we will install in a short moment. So after you put it in, the next step is you put the rings in. So just to make it look tiny, so put 1, 2.
Okay, like putting the pins makes it look so better. Like, it's gonna just be like a messy,
It's
messy
looks better, but it's the
little
most
cabinet of wires,
It's
and
true.
it's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah, it looks nice, but it's the most boring part of building a PC.
Yes.
So. Okay, so the next step is we are going to install the PSU.
PSU.
So you see we have 3 cables in blue. One is the ATX power, one is the CPU power, and then the other is the power for the PCI card, which we connect to the the GPU, the graphic card. Next is we will install this power supply unit to this case. So we chose
RM750 watt RMX series Corsair.
So yeah, please open the box. See what's inside.
Inside the box is cables. Oh, this is the plug-in thing.
Here's the main cable. The power
A
supply.
bag with the tiny screws, a sticker, just like the Ryzen,
And some ziplocs.
some ziplocs, important information book.
Very thick.
This book. Take out this.
Okay, so this
Here
is
is
power
the
supply cell.
actual power
It's actually pretty heavy, huh?
Not that heavy, but like there is like a huge fan.
Of course, I think.
Fan is huge. Let's just
Okay,
put this
and I guess the back
There's
inside
the salt thing, but we don't need that. And there's
contains a lot of
bag.
cables, so it's probably containing a lot of cables.
These are the cables.
Yeah.
These are the cables.
Okay.
What's that?
So do you know what are those cables?
That connect inside.
Okay, it's very obvious.
The
The
big
thickest
cable.
one is probably connecting. Okay, I can change. Flip the towel case.
Okay. The booklet. The important information thing.
Okay, so this is the back.
The big one probably connects to
The
this
big
one.
one connected to that one. It's pretty obvious. And
The
then
small ones connect like this one.
we have a
and
handful of
this
smaller ones.
one.
We have a handful of smaller ones. So we won't use all of them for sure. But
So you
let's
can
just stick
save
them out
for
first.
later.
So we have the this is what we call the ATX cable. The big one is called the ATX
Which
cable,
connects to this part.
and we have the CPU cable. So I think the CPU cable has a CPU name on it. I need to find it. Oh yeah, here. See, CPU cable. So it has the word CPU written on it.
CPU.
And we have some PCIe connection. Oh, this one. You see here? It's called PCIe connection. So it means we will connect this to the graphic card cable. So we don't use the other cables. So we can just take
Save
them
them for later.
off first. And save them later. We put them aside.
Into the bag.
Yeah, this is a good practice. Okay, and let's unwrap the power supply.
The actual power. Okay.
So you see,
Pretty good. Here are all the cable
the back
connection
of the,
areas. These are like the
of the power
cable
supply.
connection areas.
here is where
All the cable
put
connections
the-
are put
Yeah.
like the cables plug into like these.
correct, exactly. So let's fill in the blanks, okay?
Okay.
So here, I think I line up all the cables again. We have the power supply. We have actually two CPU cables, power cables. One is already connected. I changed the configuration a little bit, so I can show you guys later. So two power cables for the CPU, which will be connected here, and one 24-pin ATX cable, which is this one. So maybe I can plug this in first. So you see there are two sides. So it's very easy. Just plug one side and then plug the other side. Okay. And then for the CPU cables, it's just the same. So you plug the one without the CPU label on the PSU. Same for this one. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have two more cables. One of them is for the power supply for the graphic card, so which is the one labeled with PCIe, because the GPU is in the PCIe slot. So we will connect the one again without label to the power supply here. Okay, and lastly, I think just in case we will use the SATA power. And I just try to connect this here as well. I choose a 6-pin slot, which is yeah, this one is okay. So I chose this one. So, and now I'm going to put the power supply into the case. So where do you guess I will put the power supply?
Where do you guess? Tell me down there in the comment section below. Okay, so did you guess yet? If you guessed, this is the answer right here.
Yeah, so this is the place we will put the power supply here. So you can see actually there is a air filter, I think, coming out. So the air is going to coming out, the hot air is coming out from the case to outside with the fan in the PSU.
Yeah, I think it's like on the ground. It like comes out on the ground or something.
Yes, so that's why the fan, when we install it, is always facing the bottom. I think at least in this build. So Okay, okay, I almost forgot to peel out the
Peel
stickers.
this little sticker, just like the fan in the motherboard.
Okay, so you set silent operation at low to moderate lows.
If you want to read this, you could just pause it right there, but you don't have to. Okay, so like this looks like it's upside down.
This in.
Like we needed to put it upside down, so
Alright. So I will squeeze, connect all the cables and then squeeze the thing later. So next thing we need to do is we need
this in
to
place.
put the screws
oh yeah, the screws like
on
it doesn't fall out,
and we will connect the cables.
and like put the cable thing here. Okay, so now we move our PC from the assembly station to the testing station, and as you can see, like we put two of these like Wi-Fi antennas here, and like this line like connects to the audio, and this line I think connects to the monitor, and this little receive USB thing like connects to the mouse and the keyboard. And now let's test it out.
Okay, and maybe we can peel off the glass from the panel.
Oh yeah,
So
Just peel
peel it off.
just peel this off. There we go.
Okay.
So like I just press this button. Okay, so last but not least, let's turn on this computer. So make sure the power supply button is switched to on, and then get
See
ready.
if it works.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Yay!
Oh,
It
it's
works.
running.
Running.
Awesome.
Good.
So you see the CPU fan is running.
Yeah, this
There's
fan, the memory,
and the
all
memory
running.
are running.
The fans are
And
running.
then the GPU
Everything
is
is
running. And then the front fans
Are running.
are all running.
Everything is running.
It's beautiful.
And the colors look so good.
Okay, so it looks like the hardware are all done. So we will move on and then set up the software.